The year 2020 was highly problematic and traumatic to people, most especially in the areas of political maneuvers and in the area of economy. Economy suffered greatly, apart from the routine corruption-ridden sufferance which we are used to. The outbreak of COVID-19 nearly diverted our attention from our need, and everybody was running helter-skelter to be saved, to be kept alive. It's not, for example, from this end of Shafaudi, COVID-19 was revealed, but not in the name of COVID-19. What we saw was a kind of a airborne attack, whereby things looked like birds and they were raining fires. So, prospectively, you'll be thinking that there will be a kind of aeroplane attack, air attack from enemies or from insurgents. But anything from God is always very, very proverbial. And before you knew it, it became invisible attack in the name of COVID-19. If not for the scientific understanding, nobody would have known how it started and where it came from. But because of globalization today, whatever you are even doing in your kitchen is known in the market. So that's why we are able. And Nigeria is used to getting to problems of emerging diseases. One wouldn't have expected. We went through Ebola, went through Lassa fever, we went through all others. So it was just like a child's play when the pandemic in the name of COVID-19 came up. A lot of people didn't take it with seriousness. But because the source happened to be from abroad, and that contact with people arriving from abroad spread the whole thing. So, surprisingly, there was no vaccine, there was no drug. But people survived it. A lot of people survived it. Only a few people. So, from that of COVID-19, it's more of human driven attack. So God will have revealed to very many, but nobody will be so sensitive towards the direction of such an epidemic turning into a pandemic. However, even if we had been told, would we heed God's warning? One professor, that's what Soyinka said, the man died in that person who accused Mutu in the face of tyranny. What have we been able to do to those people that caused all this? Waterloo of attack. You call them from occultic something, realm. You said they are the biggest people in the world. What do you do to them? So even if we had been told COVID-19 is coming, what would we have done? This is a nation that does not believe in the Bible or the Quran, but they use the Bible and the Quran to feed fat, to become millionaires and big. That's what you use it for. In fact, in the name, with my own respect for Karl Marx, who said opium, religion as opium, I've disproved him that religion is not opium for mankind. It is because of the low level utilization of religion that people become moribund when it comes to religious activities to solving human problems. Religion is beyond the opium of mankind. It's about people's lives. But unfortunately, religion is the most ridiculed sector of human life. They don't take God seriously. We live material life. It's about materialism. When you talk of the spiritual aspect of it, it's very despised. And what God does not want, that is where you find people investing the bulk of their money. So if COVID-19 had been predicted to be coming, it will have been even more devastating, because people will not heed the warnings from the churches and the mosques. So I believe we must have learned our lessons now. What preparations are we now having against the coming future? In case there are going to be some emerging diseases again. Because when COVID-19 came up, it depicted us as people that are not ready. It depicted us as people who toy with their lives. Our health sector was nothing to write home about. WHO warned every nation that at least 15% of your annual budget must be allocated to the health sector. Nigeria, to the utmost, allocated less than 4% to the health sector. Even in the so-called COVID-19, it's not that more hospitals have been built. It's not that the existing medical centers are better equipped. And what are we saying now? Are we now saying that we have learned a good lesson from the COVID-19 pandemic? I think what the Bible and the Quran stand for is not for curative means. Prevention is better than cure. That's what they. So if we heed the warning, which is an admonition from God, a guide from God, all these emerging diseases will not even come around, whether waterborne, land, or air. So the religious sector in Nigeria, even when you now x-ray the activities, we are never ready for anything. Ordinary protocols, which we are supposed to observe. A lot of people see government as being unnecessarily too harsh, and may probably because of a religious bias, or the usual despise for religion. They are always very much interested in shutting the houses of God. And it is not so. Whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, or the so-called pagans, COVID-19 is no respecter of anybody. So we are supposed to do the needful, government, because the phobia from effect of COVID-19 will continue to live and haunt the spirit of the living. People will now fear their own shadow. Any fake news about COVID-19 is now 9,000. Will easily be believed, and you begin to shake like that. So I think what we should learn as a lesson from it is that we need to get closer to God. The benefit of getting closer to God is not in shouting hallelujah or shouting Allahu Akbar. God does not even want all these things. You make unnecessary noise. It's in Isaiah 29, 14, 15, that you profess me, that is, you profess God. You shout his name, but your mind is far from that God. How do you want that God to come to your rescue? We have to change our attitude towards God. For 2021 now, let me read out what we should expect. And the essence of it is to be better equipped, both spiritually and socially. Now, there will be aborted evil plans and struggle for cleansing need for safe and secure life. Some people will want to repeat, want to make a kind of replicating COVID-19 in the name of emerging disease again, but it will not work. It will not work. They want to put the whole nation into another state of pandemic. It's another state of pandemonium, but it will not work. There will be political hit for political activities, with political parties struggle for stability against the whirlwind of the grouping, cross-carpeting, and instability. When you look at all the politicians we have in Nigeria, their interest is in making money. They don't have the interest of the people, even those that voted them into power. That is why it's easy for them to cross the carpet. But in the course of doing that, these people are heartless. They are interventions. The godfathers may not like it, and there will be bloodlet. So people will just be dropping dead, and we know what is killing them. So that is what we are going to experience. But unfortunately, the polity will be negatively affected. Education shall receive resuscitation from government. They shall experience challenges of corruption. Challenges of corruption. The best this government can do for us is to strengthen the EFCC, strengthen the ICPC, strengthen the powers of Servicom and ACTU that are responsible to cleanse the mess in all ministries, parastatals, institutions, and agencies. All these things are very, very rotten in terms of corrupt practices. If they are able to do that, because that is going to affect directly the education sector. Education already is in comatose. Government attempts now to resuscitate it. We need God pay money into it. But those people that we entrusted with the fund, most of them will be so diabolical. Most of them will be helping themselves rather than helping the generations that need it, our children. Yesteryears, Nigeria education happened to be the best in Africa. Your health sector happened to be the best in Africa. And you see foreigners coming here. But today, you drift at the expense of helping the public schools to grow and to train our children here. So education shall receive resuscitation from government, but we may not feel it because we shall experience challenges of corruption. Fear grip here for religion adherents. A lot of atrocities will continue to be perpetrated in religious houses. And this is why I'm always worried. What is the function of CAN? Is it political or spiritual? Do they have any direct responsibilities towards ensuring that spiritually the Christians are helped out? What's going to be, what has always been, the function of Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs? In the religious sectors, we have the worst of people in destitution. We have the highest number of people in abject poverty. Yet these people, the so-called top leaders, they go about as billionaires and millionaires. And that is why some of them, when they talk, you hardly find sense in their arguments, in their submissions. Because they are being driven by the spirit of what do not belong to them. You don't need to be a billionaire to be a pastor, to be a man imam. You need it. We cannot continue to say we are rich people while millions of people are wallowing in abject poverty. What kind of religious person is that? So these areas matter so much if we do not want a kind of another insurgence to come with all air of hostilities against the society from the religious end. Because an angry person, an hungry person is an angry person. That is just it. Top priority of concerns on security issues. That area, the major problem we are having is that even your security agencies, I learned that recently that in 2013 or so, that the military voted so huge amount of money to themselves without the accredited people approving the fund. So you could see the large city, no control again. Whoever is very near the presidency or very near the governorship, governor's house, usually take powers into their hands, and they become become so powerful. That is a case of weak institution, strong individuals, which is anti-societal and anti what? It's what do we call it? Democracy. Democracy is about the people. It's for the people. It's with the people. But when the majority who are not in corridors power wallow in upper poverty, frustrated all about, okay, you can imagine what is happening. So we need general overhauling if we want 2021 to be friendly. Because it is the people. When you talk of COVID-19, it is the people that caused it. So whatever is going to happen to make the polity to be hostile, it is the people. So, and the source of it is when you are not comfortable, when you feel cheated. Then you become naturally anti your environment. So these are the areas that should matter. Areas of security. Because the security challenges we are having in Nigeria is human driven. It's not from God. It's humanly created. The politicians, the opposition will want It's our tradition in Nigeria. The opposition is always after, I will make the environment to be ungovernable for the incumbent, if it's not dancing to our tune. And unfortunately, religious people are only being used. They will now come up, they will now be talking as if things are normal, like Father Kuka, who everybody respects, is now talking of another thing. That is because the Muslim is there, that is why you are experiencing this. Go and look at the poverty indices since 1960, always with increasing profile. In 1966, 15%, 1983, 28.8%. I have the figures in my head. In 1996, 42%. In 1996, it rose to 54%, then to 65%. In 1999, the economy experts gave us vividly that your democracy was beginning with 70% poverty index. So succeeding governments have not been helping us. They only build on the mess on the ground to increase the harshness of life on the people that do not deserve to be treated like that. And we expect people in religion to be more passionate to the people. What are we learning from the Bible? What are we learning from the Quran? Why are we saying we are representative of God or not? If the people, if you cannot talk to government to be people friendly, if you cannot talk to government to warn them, in Quran 38 verse 26, David was instructed, see yourself as a vigilant of God. Ensure you rule through what? Through justice and equity. And never be autocratic. Allow, see democracy as consensus of opinion. And when you now don't be obstinate with power. If you are obstinate with power, the problem with you is that all your work will be rejected and you won't be successful. So when you go to Daniel 5:25 to 28, it says, Mene mene teke peres. Belshazzar, seen the handwriting. Only him seen it. Nobody is seen it. And what is writing is many teke peres. We have weighed your government. You are found wanting. We have decided on what will happen to your government. It will collapse and will be divided into two. And foreigners will now take over, the Medes and the Persians. And it happened. In fact, in the night of that prediction, Belshazzar died. And it happened. Everything like that. So these are the essence of predictions. When we heed God, because prediction is supposed to be based on what God says, not what you feel. Not because I hate you, you have to fall, then I'll be seeing death for you. No. That's not the predictions. So predictions, all our religious leaders need to go into retreat, seeking forgiveness of God because we have failed the nation. We are never like Elijah. We are never like Jesus Christ. We are never like Prophet Muhammad. Then why are we using their names to be who we claim to be? So you have to, when you look at it, you will feel sorry for Nigeria. If we want Nigeria to continue to be in existence, then we have to do the needful. From the social angle, let the economy grow so that people are happy. So these are the areas. Sport administration and management challenges shall negatively affect the expected star performances. The glass house in Abuja is always suffering from administrative challenges. And that is why we are killing the skill. We are killing the motivation, the motivation these people are supposed to have. All our stars. Nigeria is now taking those positions. Nigeria that used to take 3, 4 positions in the world. We are now at the and who is to help us now? Who is to help us? So this area of sports, because it was through sports that Nigeria gained the fame Even when we are bearing the name the Red Devil, we were still performing well before we change ourselves into Green Eagles. Why is it that now that globalization is offering us all the opportunities to the state of the art equipment to train? Why is it now that we are now performing badly in sports? Accidents in the areas of air mishaps are avoidable, but it's a kneeling year for road accidents. So be cautious and follow traffic rules. So it's not about some spirit are haunting you and all those things. It's about doing the needful. Doing the needful. You are not the only person, even if you are the only person that is using the road. If you are drunk and you drive, it's possible that you somersault yourself into and you die. So it is because we are not doing things accordingly. That's why we are having problems. So when we want to sensitize people, these are the areas we need to really emphasize. This is a phobia year for coronavirus. Hence, don't abandon the safety, security, and hygiene rules or rules protocols. So that is it, because this particular January, the profile in terms of the frequency of attack of coronavirus is going to be high in Nigeria. We have to be very careful. But if we are able to go through all those rules of hygiene given us, keep social distancing, use your nose mask and all those things, wait till government says Nigeria is certified, we are now free. What's our problem? Why are we taking taking rules, all these laws into our hand? So that Nigeria needs to be compliant when it comes to the rules of law in anything we go about. On fire incidents, we have to pray and work against outbreak attack that could be outrageous. We are going to experience gas leakages. We are going to experience bomb attacks. So all these are going to be source of fires. And some motors, when they catch fire on the road, it may be devastating. So that one is going to happen. But they are avoidable if we heed the warnings of the professionals in all these fields. The warnings. High level of leakages in government posts due to wastages, corruption, and other sharp practices. Case of accountability, transparency, and auditing must be addressed accordingly. So this is the summary of what we should expect in the year 2021. We will iteratively continue to look up into the papers, because the 12 months, what will happen in each month, we have been able to highlight, outline for people's consumption and digestions, for them to be able to sensitize the whole nation, for us to be able to guide against all the evil. So when we fail to do the needful, it is then we begin to experience the firm grip of Shaitan. When we do things accordingly, light will envelope you, and Shaitan will run away from you because it cannot penetrate. It's just a simple theory. So we must not continue to run away from our shadows. Let's do things accordingly so that we are able to enjoy our lives. 2021 must be a year of hope for us. So in the areas of we want to break away, we want to do this and all those things, it is after 2023 that we may begin to fear. Nothing will work now. What may be happening now is paperwork on how to do it. If our government fail to do the needful, because when people are no more having confidence in their leaders, the possibilities of thinking otherwise is there. So if you want to save Nigeria, it is the government that is there that is having that opportunity to save Nigeria from collapse in future. Thank you. And God bless. And the first grace in that is that we need to look inward and develop our own nation. Why Nigeria is suffering till today is because of our over-reliance on foreign goods and foreign partners. Whereas, when you have this kind of problem, it is that particular time we are supposed to come together. But the kind of government you are running in Nigeria is not encouraging anybody. A winner takes all approach is what we are having. Whereas we are supposed to have inclusive government. Because it's commonwealth, common sovereign wealth. Why is it that when a political party is able to wield power around herself, then no other political party is given any chance? Even those people that are not in political parties, their wisdom is never sought to contribute meaningfully. So we need to recheck our processes. We need to relook into our perceptions, the way we perceive things. There is supposed to be a kind of strategic reorientation in everything we do. It is even risky, even if there is no lockdown. It is risky for you to say you leave your country forever in this time of pestilence, when you are not even sure of where COVID-19 is. You are having the high density of COVID-19, because it's about density now in the air. You don't know where they are, you don't know where they are, and you are now saying you want to travel elsewhere. It's a kind of, in fact, Africa today is far, far better than all these foreign lands we are talking about in terms of COVID-19 effect. So, it is better that you must try as much as possible to come together, look for what you can do. After all, people that have been living here, we have been surviving even against all odds. We've been eating. We've been going about some businesses, no matter how remote, how small it may be. So we need to look, this is the time we are supposed to develop our country together. That is the signal. So with the so-called Brexit, we need to learn a lot from it. Brexit is not born out of poverty. It's not born out of being cheated. A group cheating others. It's born out of the fact that we are spending too much on others' interests. That is just it. So it's just like Nigeria serving Niger, serving this, serving that, and you say you are one. And what you benefit from all these countries, minimal. What you now roll out to them. So that is the case of Britain. So, and there, you are having well-informed citizens. You are having government that know their onions. No questionable anything around them. They have what it takes to govern. And quoting Babangida in 1985, he said that leadership is best tested in the time of trouble. Because management, you face the challenges of management, and if you are able to suppress insurgents, you are able to suppress oppositions, agitations, and you are able to satisfy all, maintaining the balance of the system or the state, then you are a leader. Very, very wise leader, credible leader indeed. So this is the kind of thing we need to really look into as of now. All these challenges of lockdown, in fact, the lockdown may not necessarily last once the protocols are observed. But those people that we should beg are the religious leaders. Because in Quran 5:62 to 63, it says, you will see people transgressing in sins. You will see them committing crimes because they want to really make money. And you will see them in promiscuous acts. God now says that the doctors of the law and religious leaders will now be questioned. What have been your roles in saving the situation? Why have you allowed this kind of messy situation to come up? So the religious leaders really need to stand above parochial life of materialism. They must be more in the spirit. And Ubunu Watomi Inali Iman. Patriotism is part of your religious obligations. That's what the Prophet Muhammad said. And in Proverbs 22 to 23, God declared, don't oppress the poor. Don't think because they are poor they are helpless. God himself will avenge their cause on the economy. Regarding that of Nigeria, without fighting corruption, down, your efforts regarding the areas of economy will continue. Will not show. It's not that you won't be generating money out of those. Well, if you have two thieves in your house and you continue to stack money in your something, will you find the money? So that's number one, because you may have economic growth, but economic growth without visible note of development is no growth. Because when you continue to say trillion, all those things, and you are having increasing number of people in destitution, we are now saying that the economy is growing. Economy must have impact, direct impact on the people. That's how it is the poor that you'll be able to appreciate. For example, you are saying you are jacking up your 30 to 30,000 as minimum wage. You are still the poorest person, the poorest nation. That of South Africa, because that 30,000 is $9.8. That of South Africa is $250. $250. Recently, we are told that instead of this usual 125, $1.25. These are the kind of things we want in the nation. Because you may say you stack this thing is now clinical trillion, clinical billion, all those things, and people continue to die on the streets because of no food. What essence is that? So until you are able to fight corruption pant down, your efforts will never be appreciated. That is what people, because people, we know how much they were having before a lot of people get into government. We know what they want now. Even the worst of them are in billions today. And people are dying in the hospitals because they can't pay the bill. So you are raising your hope unnecessarily. And your economy depends so much, still depends so much on oil. And the oil is being dictated. The oil stability or quality or sales something is being determined by the international, and that one is not stable. Today it is this, tomorrow it is 20, tomorrow is 28, is this and that. And your economy, your budget is depending on that, which means you will experience some instability, even when you do not even expect any something. So what I'm saying in essence is that fight corruption part down. You will now see, because they will be settled and they'll be able to have focus on what they want, what they are needed, how, where do we spend this money. Itself has its own problem. Biden, I believe, is left-headed and is more accommodating than Trump that left the place. And we have not even had Biden blaming the Muslims or blaming the Christians, the Africans over anything. This one will be more focused, and having that Nigerian around him means he's very, very accommodating, and it's a signal that the whole world will enjoy him. That is the way I look at it. So, above all, the sovereignty of this earth belongs to God. Whether you are the president, or you are ministers, or you are a commoner, once that God lives in us, we'll be able to break evil. But if we continue to be irrational, all our efforts, that is just Psalm 127 verse 1. And these are things you cannot fault. Those who labor in vain without divine intervention. We need it. And what he deserves from us is that don't cheat on others. Be transparent. Be auditable. Fear the day of probity. That is what God is just saying.